It is midnight, and in the stillness of your room, you might feel a lingering tension from the day. Perhaps it's a sense of being judged by a neighbor, or the frustration of being ignored by someone you care about. We often think our struggles are with the world outside, but psychological wisdom suggests a different truth. The world is a giant mirror. What we see in others, the traits that trigger us, the judgments we fear, and even the perfection we admire are often fragments of our own soul projected onto a screen. Jung often spoke about how we lose our inner signal by projecting it onto others. When you are constantly reacting to the noise of other people's opinions, you are essentially watching a movie of your own repressed thoughts and calling it reality. This is the source of modern exhaustion. You aren't tired of people. You are tired of the constant mental friction caused by these invisible projections. Let's look at the story of Clara. Clara always found herself in relationships with broken partners, people who needed fixing, saving, or constant emotional support. To her friends, she was a selfless saint. But inside, Clara felt hollowed out and increasingly resentful. Through analysis, Clara made a startling discovery. She wasn't attracted to these people because of their needs. She was projecting her own repressed vulnerability onto them, because she was taught as a child to be strong and overperform her personality as a helper. She had pushed her own need for care into the dark basement of her shadow. By trying to fix others, she was unconsciously trying to fix the abandoned child within herself. As the sources remind us, uneased creative power becomes poisonous. Clara's repressed vulnerability had turned into a sickness unto death, a despair born from not being her true self. When she finally realized that the brokenness she hated and tried to save in others was actually her own, she stopped explaining her need for boundaries. She stopped being a ghost in her own life and started becoming a sovereign individual. Now consider Julian. Julian was highly successful but lived in constant fear of being exposed as a fraud. He felt that his colleagues were always secretly judging his every move. This invisible trial in his head made him a chronic conformist. He spent all his mental energy adjusting his frequency to match the room, hoping to silence the critics he imagined were everywhere. In reality, Julian's colleagues respected him. The critic was actually his own internal superego, a projection of his own self-doubt. Sources emphasize that passivity breeds mediocrity and mental illness. By remaining passive to this internal voice, Julian was enslaving himself. One night, he decided to practice the art of no reaction toward his own anxious thoughts. He withdrew his libido, his vital mental energy, from external validation and reinvested it in his own core. He stopped seeking to satisfy anyone but himself in his work. Paradoxically, when Julian stopped trying to be perfect for the phantom critics, his natural magnetic integrity began to shine through. He realized that the shape of his life was his own to define, not the mirror's. Withdrawing a projection is a painful but necessary stage of healing. When you stop seeing your power, your pain, or your worth in other people, you will experience a sense of nothingness. This is the necessary cellar of the mind where transformation happens. Many people find this silence terrifying and flee back to the herd, back to the drama of external relationships. But as Marcus Aurelius taught us, today I escaped from anxiety. Or no, I discarded it, because it was within me. When you realize that the judgment you fear and the love you seek are both generated within your own perception, you become an immovable object. You stop being available for the scripts others have written for you. Integrity is magnetic because it is solid. When you follow your internal compass rather than a collective map, The world has no choice but to adjust to your frequency. Tonight, let yourself be incomplete and imperfect. Stop explaining your why to people who are only mirrors of your past. Close your eyes and listen to that million-year-old voice within you. It doesn't care about your social media status or your professional titles. It only cares about your wholeness. You're not a machine built for efficiency. You are a soul built for meaning. Reclaiming your sovereign self means accepting that the mirror of the world will always be distorted, but the signal within you is true. The path to becoming who you are is paved with the things you choose to stop doing. Stop performing. Stop projecting. Start being. I hope this video can help those of you who feel trapped by the expectations of others or the patterns of your relationships. May you have the courage to look within, the strength to withdraw your projections, and the peace of finally finding the solid ground of your own sovereign soul. Stay silent. Stay strong. Become who you are.